Hi Siddhis, welcome to the online class of social science, and in this session we are going to begin our history chapter 2, and the name of the chapter is From Trade to Territory. As the chapter's name denotes, we are going to discuss about how the Britishers, those who came for trade, became the masters of our country. First we have to understand the political condition of India during British period. When the Britishers came to India, India was under the Mughal rule, and Aurangzeb was the last powerful Mughal ruler, and he controlled over a large part of India, and he was followed by a succession of weak rulers after his death in 1707. And the empire broke down under many Mughal zamindars and governors as regional empires. So that was the political condition when the Britishers came to India. And who discovered sea route to India? Vasco da Gama, the Portuguese explorer, discovered sea route to India in 1498. Followed by him, the Dutch, the French and the Britishers came to India. The British East India Company earned a charter in 1600 from the Queen Elizabeth, and after they came to India. So, according to that charter, the English East India Company is only allowed to have trade with the East. No other European companies are allowed to have trade with the East. However, when they reached India, the Dutch, the Portuguese and the French have already established their trade centers in India. So, all the companies needed the same products, that are the fine quality cotton, silk and the spices like cinnamon, pepper and cardamom. So, the prices of the commodity increased and they lost their profit. Then there arises a competition between the foreign traders, and this competition often led to conflicts and battles. In this chapter, we are going to learn some important battles fought by Britishers in India. First, we are going to learn about Battle of Plassey. So, the English East India Company set up their first factory in the banks of the river Hooghly in 1651, and after setting up the factory officials began to settle down near the factory, and by 1696 it began building a fort in Bengal. And 2 years after, the company acquired zamindari rights over 3 villages. Zamindari rights means right to have taxes from the villagers. So, now they began to interfere in the political affairs of India. So, the company had the right to have trade without tax, but the officials have to pay the tax. So, without tax, the company, East India Company can have trade, but the officials have to pay the tax. But the officials also refused to pay the tax. But it was not acceptable by the Nawabs of Bengal, especially Murshid Quli Khan protested against it. He and his successors Alivardi Khan and Siraj-ud-Dawla forced the company and officials to pay the taxes. Negotiations failed, then it will lead to Battle of Plassey. In 1756, Alivardi Khan died and Siraj-ud-Dawla became the Nawab of Bengal. He didn't give any concession to the company and asked to pay them tax. But the company refused and the negotiations failed. So, Siraj-ud-Dawla established control over the English factory at Qasim Bazar, and the company fought at Calcutta. And on hearing the news of fall of Calcutta, the company officials sent an official called Robert Clive to fight against Siraj-ud-Dawla. Again, some negotiations were held between Siraj-ud-Dawla and Robert Clive. That negotiations also failed. Then finally in 1757, Robert Clive led the company to victory at Plassey. So, in Battle of Plassey, Siraj-ud-Dawla was defeated by the Robert Clive and Mir Jafar became the Nawab of Bengal. There is some reasons for the defeat of Siraj-ud-Dawla at Plassey. One main reason for the defeat of the Nawab was the forces led by Mir Jafar, one of the commander of Siraj-ud-Dawla, didn't participate in the battle because Robert Clive had managed to get the support by promising him that he will be the next Nawab of Bengal after Siraj-ud-Dawla. So, the Battle of Plassey thus became the first victory of British Company in India, and it is That's why it is very famous battle. So what all topics we covered today? End of Mughal Empire, the East India Company comes east, East India Company begins trade in Bengal, and Battle of Plassey. Now let's try to answer these questions. That is, who was the last powerful Mughal emperor? When did English East India Company started its first factory in India? What was the reason for the failure of Siraj-ud-Dawla in Battle of Plassey? So I hope you all have understood this session. Thank you.